All right, welcome back to BeerFormers. That's our 10th episode.
Number 10.
Number 10. And we've been talking about all kinds of fun stuff. We've been teasing this concept for several episodes now because I've mentioned it. We've done Optimus Prime, Power Master Optimus Prime. We did the original Megatron.
So we obviously have to do...
Yeah. We need to talk about the Action Masters.
Okay, but before we do that, I want to do a personal shout out to our youngest daughter. She graduated from high school today.
Woo!
Class of 2024. Shout out. We're proud of Rachel and we're proud of all of
Everybody who
you.
worked hard this year in your school, congratulations to you. And best of luck to all your future endeavors and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. So for all the action you had to put into making those grades and getting that diploma, we're going to talk about something action-oriented.
Masters.
Yeah.
So the Action Masters. We've teased this a couple times. We talked about Optimus and Megatron. So tonight we're going to talk specifically about Action Master Optimus Prime and Action Master Megatron. All right. So the Action Masters are kind of interesting, right?
Yeah.
So
tell me more,
these came
Dave.
out in 1990. These are many.
That's when we were in high school.
Yeah. Well, that's the year I graduated high school. But talking about graduations again, oddly enough. So, without belaboring it too much here, you know, the Transformers, like any other kind of toy line, they have highs, they have lows. People, you know, get excited and buy them. People get less excited and move on to other things like that.
Is this a high or a low?
So, to many people, these are a low. I think these are actually kind of cool when you get down to it, but you know, I might be in the minority in some parts there. So,
you're also very
in 1990,
okay.
This was the last year Transformers were sold in America for about 2 to 3 years before they came out with Generation 2. So there are many in the fandom who say the Action Masters basically killed Transformers. All right.
Oh, that's pretty dark.
So, you know, the Transformers came out in 1984. This is the 40th anniversary year. Happy birthday, Transformers.
What?
At war since 84. That's on some things that Hasbro's been trying to sell.
Yeah, we need to get a sticker.
But, you know, so they came out with the initial, you know, toys that turn into cars and jets and stuff like that.
Sure.
And as time go on, they had to find ways to refresh it. Yeah, that's Tonka. That's Hasbro bought them anyway. That's a whole other story. You know, as the line progressed, they as lines do, they find ways to refresh it and make it exciting and come in. So then they, you know, after a year or so, they came out with the combiners. You know, Transformers that build up into a bigger figure. And then after that, they started having special teams, you know, and other gimmicks like trigger bots with like the guns that flip out of their hands. And
do you have some of those?
I do. Ones that had like sparkers in them, you know.
Do you have some of those?
I have some of those too. So they had the Headmasters, the Target Masters. We've talked about the Power Masters. We've done Power Master Optimus Prime. All these things just to find ways to make the line new and refreshing and yada yada.
Yeah.
So fast forward to 1989/1990. Sure.
Oh boy.
So the Galoob came out with the Micro Machines, and they were huge. So if Hasbro was feeling the pressure, in their own minds at least, that we got to find a way to compete with these things. So they came out with the Micro Masters. Little Transformers that turn into like 1-inch size figures, you know, that turn into little cars.
How many of those did you have?
That arm is stuck in that one a little bit, just so you know.
Almost broke it.
So they came out with the Micro Masters, right? Little tiny Transformers. Yeah. And then the following year, 1990, they had more Micro Masters. And then they came out with this idea of doing the Action Masters. So the basic premise is that in fiction, the Transformers found a new fuel source that would give them even more power than Energon or whatever you call about it. You know, all the time you tried to make. It was called Nucleon, but the side effect was that it would mutate the Transformers' internal circuitry so that they could not transform anymore.
Oh.
So Action Masters are Transformers that do not transform. They are action figure versions.
Pros and cons, cost versus benefits.
Exactly. They're about the same size as G.I. Joe and original Star Wars figures, right?
They have swivel head action.
They have swivel heads. They have articulation at the arms. They have more articulation on the legs. So they have more like G.I. Joe style legs. They can go to the sides. They can bend at the knee. They can go forward and backward. There's a little rubber band type system inside there. But their arms are just up and down. Okay.
Yeah.
So they're action figure versions of most of the time were classic figures, classic characters like Optimus and Megatron.
Okay.
But they did make up a few new characters for the Action Master line. So to make up for the lack of transformation for the figures themselves, they gave them accessories that could transform.
Oh,
okay. So
interesting twist.
Yeah. So, like for example, Action Master Blaster. Blaster is a guy Autobot turned into a radio-like sound wave, right?
Right.
He came with.
Also could win the rap battles.
Oddly enough, he came with like a jetpack that could transform from a jetpack into a bigger gun that he could handle. That was very common amongst the single figures.
Yeah,
Optimus, then they came out with ones that turned into like their accessories were vehicles.
Okay.
So the Transformer actually drove a vehicle, ironically enough, since before that they were the vehicle. Okay. And the vehicle could transform from one form into another, or a base, or like that. Like, for example, like Action Master Prowl, another prominent character from the fiction. He had a motorcycle that could turn into a helicopter. All right, so almost like Mask. Okay. Remember the show Mask?
Yeah, so he couldn't transform.
Prowl couldn't transform, but his accessories.
And the benefit was he was more powerful.
Yeah, the Nucleon gave them more power, more energy.
It was called Nucleon?
You ready for this?
Yeah.
They made them more alive. The action is alive. That was kind of like what. So
it's like Action Park, man.
Right, Action Park.
Live action.
So you had abundance of these figures that couldn't transform.
Okay.
They just had accessories or things that could transform. And so tonight we're going to talk about the leader of the Autobots and Decepticons at this time.
Okay.
So Action Master Optimus Prime. This is actually
that gun looks dumb.
And it's bright orange. Yeah. That was another thing that was starting to happen about this time. They were getting into bright colors. It's a way to make it exciting for the kids, I guess.
No. Looks like a Nerf.
Optimus Prime's big orange gun.
Big Nerf gun.
Megatron, he came with a big red gun like this. I'll put this in his hand so you can kind of see what it looks like in his hand there.
At least red is like Red Alert.
So it kind of fit in his hand sort of like that.
But he can't move that arm.
But his fusion cane that you see in my vision, that's the thing I made. That's a kit bash.
What?
Yeah, I made this out of a pin, like a pin tube and some electrical tape, and stuck it on.
Okay, that looks really good. Yeah. I thought that was part of the original.
If you have an Action Master Megatron, unless you made a fusion cannon form like I did, it won't look like this. So it's pretty good. Yeah, so.
Wait a second. It didn't come with a fusion cannon.
It came with this gun.
You made this up entirely out of your head.
Yep, because I wanted him to look more like Megatron as we classically knew.
You gotta. This is cool.
I'll put a big picture up there.
I know, but this is neat. I'm impressed, Dave. I thought this was actually part of the toy.
No.
You did.
And in the process of doing this, unfortunately, getting this fusion cannon made for his arm, something happened to his, his left arm where it doesn't move anymore.
Yeah, and I almost broke it.
And Noelle almost broke it off, so that's why I had to stop her there. But anyway, so that was the Action Masters Transformers that don't transform, but their accessories do. And so, after that, I guess it didn't jive with people, obviously.
It sounds pretty dumb.
It killed the line.
Yeah.
And so Transformers didn't come back for 2 to 3 years, depending on where you were in the country. 92 and 93 is when Transformers Generation 2 then hit. And basically, since Generation 2, there's really not been a year since that we haven't had Transformers in America.
All right, I know this
you can always find Transformers on the shelf somewhere in America.
I know this is a sidebar, but why did they choose to reboot it? What happened? Is that a story for another day?
Yeah, it's a story for another day. All right.
But it's fascinating.
Yeah, So
how bad did these die? Though?
Because the thing was nowadays we got this big nostalgia market.
Yeah,
where like older people like me are like, I'd like to relive my past. But in 91, 92. In theory, those people were maybe in late high school or early college. Yeah. Not a lot of disposable income yet, so they weren't in the nostalgia market. So that's probably one of the reasons why Hasbro said, we're just going to put Transformers on hiatus.
Okay. How many Action Masters were made?
Well, that's where it gets a little interesting, a little fuzzy. Okay, so we had 1 year of Action Masters. All right, and so in the United States, it's kind of the semi-official end of Transformers Generation 1.
Okay.
But the Action Masters line continued in Europe for another year. They got some figures in Europe that we did never get here in America.
Do you have some?
I do have all those.
Of course you do.
So they had some special exosuit things. It's like the Action Master figure would fit in an exosuit and it could do some stuff, whatever. Then that same next year, they came out with what were called Action Master Elites, which were slightly larger than...
in the United States or Europe?
These were in Europe. So they're a little slightly bigger than Optimus and Megatron here. And those could sort of transform. They had 4 of those, okay? And I've got all 4 of them. We'll talk about those.
Did they have a different fuel source? Because you were told me they couldn't transform because they had Nucleon. Okay.
Nucleon, that's like our brother-in-law or something. But
maybe that's why I thought that. I just saw him today.
So they had the Action Master Elites. That's a whole other story, too. They could sort of transform. They weren't like great transformations. It's almost like you took Optimus and kind of bent him over sideways and flipped the leg up sometimes. That was a transformation. I'm not kidding.
Aerobics.
But, whatever. And then in Europe they had a couple more like rounds of figures that are kind of maybe sort of Generation 2, maybe sort of Generation 1. They kind of fit in this limbo area. So everyone has their own headcanon when it comes to that. In my headcanon, everything that comes out prior to the official release of Generation... anything that comes after 1990 that's still not Micromaster / Action Masters is still Generation 1. Otherwise, it's Generation 2. If that makes any kind of sense.
How do you keep track of all that?
It's all up here. It's a crazy world that I live in. All right, so let's talk about more about these guys because this video is going to be horrifying. So Optimus Prime came with this jet thing here.
Because he took Nucleon.
And this base thing here.
He can't transform.
Okay.
So he's got to...
That, believe it or not, turns into a semi-truck and trailer, keeping with Optimus Prime's theme of being a
one
cab.
does.
Yeah, this becomes the trailer.
Okay.
This becomes the semi-truck cab. Optimus can fit inside of it and drive it. So
Show me. Put him in there. I want to see him.
Okay.
Oh, look at that.
Let's stick him inside here real quick.
Oh, look, he's driving it.
He can drive it and fly around it. So I was going to try to attempt to turn these back into their vehicle form. I thought it was more fair to her because if I just gave her the vehicle, said turn this to a base.
Okay.
A base can be literally anything like this one here.
Okay.
So let's see how she does with this one.
So I'm putting this aside, and this becomes a cab, and that becomes what I plug it into?
Yes, this becomes the trailer. That becomes
when
the
do
tractor.
I start?
Tractor trailer. You can go ahead and start right now.
Okay.
So Optimus turned into his classic vehicle form from when he was actually able to transform. Even though he's an action master now, I can't transform. They found a way to kind of keep that thing going there. So other action masters could fit on this base, manning all these guns. People could sit up here and man the guns. They had great artwork for this on the side of the box.
That's got to be it, right?
Nope, not quite. Not quite.
What?
Keep
How
trying.
is that not it? No, Dave.
Do you see the big holes in the wings? That's where the tractor trailer plugs into to be able to pull it along. So, do you need help? Are you tapping in yet?
No.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay.
Look what I just did.
Yeah.
I'm not tapping out.
Okay.
All right. So, okay. Ooh. All right.
So the tractor trailer's got to be able to fit into those holes to be able to be towed.
Into these holes.
So would it make sense for them to still be wings?
No.
The tractor trailer? Okay. So you think you're afraid you're breaking it again? Go ahead and fold it flat. I respect the fact that you're trying not to break it. That's awesome.
I did it.
And these are the
smokestacks. You got some smokestacks.
So that's that. And while you're trying the trailer now.
Look, it's got a little transformer stick.
I stuck that on there.
Oh, Dave made that too.
I didn't make it. It's on a sticker set. I just stuck it on there. So, yeah.
so creative.
Here is its, the cab mode. And again, to fit Optimus Prime in, you got to flip the thing back and then fit him inside, and then he can still drive it while he's.
Here we go. Are these supposed to come off?
Yes, the guns all need to come off.
The guns are going to go inside.
You tell me exactly how much hint you need before I just give it to you.
I know, because that last time you were like, here's the smokestacks. And...
You don't want to mansplain.
So you just...
Sometimes you got to mansplain. I'm kidding, ladies. You don't ever have to mansplain.
Who's your favorite NFL player right now? Harrison Butker?
Yeah. Let's not talk politics. So,
I'm talking football.
Football/politics. So the cab mode there once again. So we'll see if
that didn't go so well. I'm almost there though. This needs to go inside, but I'm stuck on something. There, I got it.
Now the guns, if you want, can either go back on top here or on the sides. Traditionally, it's shown being plugged on the sides, those little black guns.
I was just gonna hide them in there, but I will.
But you have these guns up here that you can see. Those can come off and be held by other action masters if you so desire, or two action masters can sit in the seat here and still man those guns as it's driving around. Yeah,
Action Master Army. And you said these two go on the side here too.
Yep,
I like it. Wouldn't everybody like to have a truck with guns on the side like this when you're like in traffic and people are being
running red lights and being jerkwads and being like, I can drive however I want because I'm an American.
I'm more important than you.
Lastly, this needs to fold down. That's the last thing you need to do is fold that down. That just kind of rests sort of like that. You can, it doesn't really have a good
down.
Yep. And then you can plug it into.
And that's how the back looks like that with the little what do you call these on the back?
I don't know. It's like air dam, a fin, spoiler.
Spoiler. Spoiler alert.
So when Action Master Optimus Prime's base is transformed, you get this tractor combo. Like and Optimus Prime sits in the cab and pilots it. Much like Star Wars figures that had the holes in their feet, so you can peg people with it.
Yeah.
Action Masters also have holes in their feet, and you see little pegs everywhere.
That's cool. And G.I. Joe's had those.
Yeah,
too. So it made things very handy.
You could stack lots of other Action Masters on this and drive them into battle with guns ablazing.
So it almost seems like they had a G.I. Joe mentality. Like, they're
which,
like, what if we...
Hasbro, of course, owns G.I. Joe,
yeah,
too. So,
but what if they crossed G.I. Joe with toy? Because you got the best of both worlds. You got Transform a toy, but you also had a figure.
It was a gamble. They were rolling the dice. Let's try an action figure version of this. You know, and you still get the Transform, but just not the guys.
Interesting concept.
It didn't resonate, okay? So Megatron...
Sometimes you...
has this little jet here and this little gun that I already busted out earlier that can go several places,
looks like
whatever.
something that, like, the Green Goblin would fly. The colors are ridiculous.
His base, he has a base mode too, is this thing here. Now, believe it or not, this becomes a tank, which is kind of cool because this is the first time...
see treads.
See treads right there. Yeah. This is the first time Megatron had a tank mode. We talked about Generation Mega 1, who was a handgun, right? And it became problematic because you can't have handguns in the United States because of safety rules, and bad things happen to some people as a result of playing with toy guns.
It might be hard for a action figure.
Right.
It would have to be a very tiny gun.
So if you have Action Master Megatron who has just a big gun that he drives around with, so what's a big gun that can move around? Is a tank, essentially. So it makes sense. But most Megatron forms post Generation 1. Yeah. And this is only the second time Megatron came out in Generation 1, by the way. I think I mentioned that before. He had the original gun mode. You had Galvatron, which is what he transforms into as a result of the events of Transformers, the movie. Yeah. And then you had Action Master Megatron. That was it. Yeah. So in Generation 1, there were only 2 real Megatrons. It was the original gun and then this Action Master version.
Shakatron.
So, but they had his vehicle turned into a tank. And so ever since then, Megatron, for the most part, there's been a few exceptions, has always turned into a tank. So let's see if you can figure out how to turn this into a tank.
So that's pretty cool. Do these anything else?
Those little guns pop out, yep.
Are they supposed to?
The little missiles, yeah.
Okay. So we'll get...
This might be the harder one of the two, just because it's not as intuitive.
To find out if there's anything loose to take off first. I've learned that through trial and error. Okay. So... That seems to be like the right way to go. So I see treads.
Well, so while you're messing with it, I'll just keep talking a little bit. So
yeah, please do.
So the Action Masters, again, had 1 year in the United States, had a couple years in Europe. Functionally, the end of Generation 1 for Transformers. They came back in a big way with Transformers Generation 2, still with the bright colors like you're seeing here. There's a lot of neon green and stuff on this one. Bright colors were a big deal. Even G.I. Joe went the route of bright colors at this time frame. This is the barrel of the tank, ultimately, too, just so you know.
This is the barrel?
This is the barrel. It just pulls off. Yeah, it's a separate piece. See, you were doing great.
I was doing great. I am amazing.
That just wasn't necessarily obvious.
This goes up here, doesn't it?
Yeah, it will eventually. You're still not quite all the way there. So many people hate the Action Masters because of the concept. It did make its way into the comic books a little bit, in the Marvel comics at least initially. But that was also the end of the Marvel comics too, was the Action Master era. So Transformers just went away for about 2 to 3 years, depending on what part of the country you lived in. So it was kind of a sad time, I guess, if you were a big Transformers fan back then. But 1993, 1992, Transformers comes back in a big way. Transformers Generation 2, as we just alluded to. And like I said, we've never been without Transformers ever since. So that's the turret that just snaps on there. So now, but the wings.
Wait a second.
Yeah. Ooh. Oh, what'd you do?
Oh no!
It just snaps back on.
Okay.
You didn't necessarily do anything.
I didn't cut the grasshopper's head off.
But I think these fold in a certain order. That was part of the problem. Yeah.
And this has got to just go in here.
It just should snap on there somehow. It should kind of snap into place a little bit. There you go. I think that was it. All right.
I did it.
So now the barrel of the that can go anywhere.
I like it here.
Megatron's going to be able to sit in there and ride
Here's the turret. Right?
Yep.
Boom.
And the missiles kind of go on these things on the back here. Just have to store
like
them.
This?
Yeah, just to store them. They just kind of snap in there.
Not really, though. Not real good.
You got to find the right angle, I guess, to do it.
Don't want them to blow up in my fingers is what's going on.
I can't. Oh, there's a little tab there on the side.
Okay.
So
okay.
They really
I got it now.
One way. Yeah, there you go.
You only kind of go in. Yeah. I think that's
for the sake of brevity, we don't want to spend 20 minutes getting these missiles on. If you get the idea, you get the idea.
I do. I will be here all night.
Megatron can ride up here. The missiles go on the side. Again, pegs everywhere.
Or just right here.
These can flip out so people can ride on this while the tank rolls into battle. So I'll put an Optimus Prime out here again so we can see that. There's Megatron and his tank and his it was a neutral fusion tank.
What does that mean?
I don't know. I guess I thought it would sound cool. It's not just a tank. It's a neutral fusion tank.
He's doing the neutron dance in it.
So if you're like a kid going, oh, he's in a tank. No. Neutral fusion tank. do not mess.
I mean, it's
with the
cool, but
thing.
this bright colors kind of.
Yeah, that turned people off for a while. Generation 2 really took that to the extreme.
thing.
We'll talk about Generation 2 at some point in the future, but this is it. So first time Megatron ever had anything association with a tank. Most Megatrons were tank after that. So that's the Action Masters. Action Master Optimus, Optimus. These are the biggest Action Master sets of the day. The leaders make sense. They had the two biggest sets. There was other ones that were close to being big. There was another Decepticon called Gut Cruncher. It turned into a big head.
I want to see one of the ones from Europe. Where are those
We'll do that in a future episode at some point.
Okay.
We can talk about those because those are pretty cool too. Because most people who are casual Transformers fan might not even know those exist.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, so we'll talk about those.
I didn't even know they existed, and they're in my basement apparently. Yeah. Wow, I'm learning a lot about what's in my own house when we do these episodes. So
little Star Wars size action figures that represent Transformers. Yeah. They have not really done anything close to this since.
Yeah, I can see why.
Everything might be this size sometimes, but they still have the ability to transform.
I don't think these are the most awesome.
There's been a couple of
get what
things
they were
that are
going
close,
for.
but yeah.
I respect them for giving it a shot.
Yeah.
Because it does make sense. And
at
I like
least there was an attempt to have a story to explain it.
True.
It's not just suddenly, here kids, there's Transformers that don't transform.
Somehow Palpatine
returned.
It wasn't that, which is good.
So as promised, I've alluded to Action Masters for a while. Now you've seen a couple of them, Optimus Prime, Megatron. Let's celebrate with some beer.
Oh, absolutely. Okay, I have a good one for you today.
What do we got tonight?
It's really good.
All right.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. This is probably one of the best brewery stories that I've come across. Okay. I'm going to read a lot because I don't want to get any of these facts wrong. But we are talking today about Good News.
Good News Brewery is our brewery tonight.
Yeah, okay.
So here's our beer.
So I've got lots of facts here.
Looks pretty simple, but this is one of their can styles that just look like this on purpose. They have other can styles that don't look like this. But
so
tell us more.
Dave, I've got a lot of info here.
Okay, tell us about Good News Brewery.
This is one of the best stories I've ever heard.
Okay.
So you're not going to believe any of this because I was really surprised. Because we've been to a couple of the Good News locations, and I didn't know any of this. All right, Dave's going to pour it for us while I tell you a little bit. This is one of the newer breweries that we have featured.
It says established 2016.
2016 by Matt Fair, who is a mechanic by trade, and Dan Tripp, who is his day job is he's an elementary teacher. Okay, so these are just two guys.
Go teachers.
Who were they were home brewers just as a side hobby, just for fun. But these two guys met each other in a Bible study, and it just created all kinds of good things. Okay, when they met in this Bible study, they started brewing beer together in Matt's basement, and they say in that Bible study they learned the power of sharing the good news by being human. And here's what they say what that means. That's why it's
called Good News.
Yes.
Could have been gospel beer, but they
listen to what they say, though. They say that this is a quote. This means, what does it mean? Sharing the good news by being human? It means having fun, celebrating, being in community, and having parties. Remember how Jesus did that thing where he turned water into wine? That's what they say on their website. So, that's where the idea of Good News was born. They wanted a place where people can share good news, stories, laughs, and maybe even a beer. And they also say, this is very important to them, that they are not just a brewery. They're not just a restaurant. They're not just a bar. They're a brewery that serves wood-fired pizza. So that's very critical to them, that the food and the beer. They have 4 locations. They're all in Missouri: Augusta, Defiance, O'Fallon, and St. Charles in the Frenchtown area. And 3 of those locations are along the Katy Trail. Okay, and they often host 5K runs along the trail. So if you like to run and you like beer, you need to look this place up and subscribe to all the news that they put out there, because you might have an opportunity to go do a little running and drink a little beer. They have this little map that they put out where they tell you how far their brewery is down on the Katy Trail.
What mile marker to look for.
So we're going to be doing this summer. But I think that's pretty cool. They're family friendly. They are dog friendly. They host all kinds of special events, like if you have a wedding or any kind of special party, look them up. They're a great venue for that. They often have live music. And their pizza that they serve is artisan and wood-fired. And they say their best seller is their Vampire Death Wish, which
we've had.
We had it.
Really
it was
good.
really good. It was garlicky.
Yeah, that's why it's Vampire Death
Okay.
Wish. It's very garlicky.
Okay, now about the beer. Okay, they have many styles. They have their stalwarts that they serve year-round. They also have a lot of seasonal beers. They say their flagship is called the Dirty Laundry Brown Ale, which we've tried. It's an American-style brown ale, and it has notes of roasted malt and caramel.
Right.
They have a cherry pie tart that they release around Thanksgiving.
Ooh.
That's brewed with Vienna malt and sweet cherry puree, vanilla, orange peel, and a dash of cinnamon. That's just giving you an idea of some of the complexities that they bring to the table. They are also known for their Persimmon Christmas Ale.
Ooh.
I know, right? Doesn't it make you excited? They've just for the summer released a beer called Good Karma, which is a West Coast style IPA that features grapefruit peel. And they've re-released a beer called Dub W, which is an American wheat ale that features watermelon. Okay, now we have tried, I look back at our pub pass, and I know we've tried their Grandpapa Munich Dunkel, their Fire Night Porter, their Sweet Hot Blonde, which you made a note that said it was spicy.
It's sweet and hot.
We've tried their Hazelnut Coffee Milk Stout, their Extra Bitter, which is like an English bitter, really good if you like those English pub styles, the Perfect Storm IPA, and Irish Red. They've just a wide variety of different kinds of beers. We've enjoyed them all. Today, we're going to sample what they call their Belgian style white ale. Now, you can get a beer when you go to one of their places, when one of their tap room / pizza restaurants. Yeah, you can bring it home in cans. You can also get these fun growlers. So we brought home some of their beer in a growler too. So anyway, we recently brought home.
So I bought this at the O'Fallon, Missouri location.
Okay.
We've also been to the one that was what? It was a Defiance. That was kind of cool because at the time, it's been a couple of years. I hope it's still there. But there was a campground right next door. We always talk about let's camp and just walk back and forth to the brewery. But that was kind of cool too.
And it's right by. There's a great trail to hike out there.
Yeah, the Party Cage.
So anyway, if you look at this, it's very light. This is going to be like your Blue Moons, okay? Because it says it's a Belgian style wheat. With
coriander and orange peel.
Yeah. So I'm expecting a nice little flavor sensation. It's a yellow beer, but it's cloudy. So got that nice unfiltered
a bit
wheat.
Of haze, yep.
Yeah. A little hazy there. But it smells amazing.
So here we go. Let's take a
look. Oh, that is so good. Oh, it's well balanced.
Very Belgian style white. Yeah,
oh.
Yeah.
But the spiciness is perfect. That
Yeah, that's really good. Yeah, but it's not as dark as Blue Moon or as orangey as Blue Moon, but you can taste the orange in it.
No,
for sure.
The orange is definitely the most. It stands out.
Like Blue Moon, will probably get with an orange slice in it too. If you want to serve it that way, really good.
But here's the thing. Yeah, coriander can sometimes take me down the wrong down a dark path, but this is perfectly balanced. This is very good. Oh.
Yeah, really good.
I could get in trouble with this. Oh,
I like it. And the can being just white because the Belgian white ale, very, very simple artwork on that.
Oh Absolutely. My gosh, very good. Good news. Hey, good news, everyone. The
Good
beer
news.
is good.
And this is not a suppository.
Yeah.
Good news, everyone. If you get that joke, you're our kind of people. So good job on talking about good news beer.
Yeah, which is one of the most fun stories I've ever heard. I mean, it started in a Bible study, and now they want to share their love of beer with everybody, and they're really doing a good job at it. So
good job transforming Transformers that don't transform.
Yeah,
you did a really good job.
Although I almost broke one.
You didn't.
But hey, is it a BeerFormers if I don't almost break one of your toys?
It is kind of true. So,
yeah.
I mean, these are pretty old now, so they're run up there. But pretty cool. I think Action Masters are cool, but I love all things Transformers, so I'm biased.
I know, and you're also a very optimistic person. It takes a lot for Dave to not find the good in something.
Now, are these my favorite Transformers?
Yeah.
No, but there's still some cool ones there. So we want to once again thank you all for watching as we get ready to wrap this up. Cheers.
Thank you. Cheers.
Cheers.
It's been a
good
great
news,
day.
Action Masters.
Yeah.
Again, if there's anything Transformers wise you'd like to know about, drop us a line.
Yeah, and yeah, any other spirit or any beer that you would like us to try, please. We are all ears. We want to hear about them. We are happy to give them a shot. If you think they're good, give them a shout out. We'll give them a try.
And being this is YouTube, please just smash all the buttons.
Please, yeah.
Like, subscribe, yada yada. We want
to get to those 150 subscribers.
We're still trying to get there. So let us know.
I don't know. What do you think?
But
Rona's going to give a big wet sloppy kiss to anybody who's
we're definitely going to show you our buddy at one of these points. But he's a cool dog.
Yeah.
All right, so thank you for watching. Remember to always play responsibly.
Yes.
That's why we don't break things. Drink responsibly. Responsibly. Beer is good. And thank you for watching BeerFormers.
Thank you so much.
BeerFormers.
Meets the right.
Cheers.
Cheers.